What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 4, season 2 of SportsCasters. We thank you guys for tuning into today's episode, and we hope you enjoy.
Before it slows up, before the window of opportunity closes up. I came, I saw, I conquered, I'm ball. Yeah, I came, I saw, I conquered, I'm ball. Yeah. Yo, we should get them, so I got them all. Yeah. And turn this bitch into a barrier.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 4 of SportsCasters. Today's episode is brought to you by Rells Revenge and Official Slim Dub Music. I'm your host, Makayla Evans, and I am here with our founder, Chris Lyles Jr., and our two sports analysts, Sterling Harris and Matthew Anderson. Okay, boys, so we are going to start with the NBA Finals. We have Game 5 coming up tomorrow. How are we feeling? Do we think that the Lakers are going to take it all?
I felt like the Heat needed to get the win. Well, for us, today's Thursday. So I feel like the Heat needed to get the win on Wednesday, and with them not able to do so, I think this definitely does chalk up the series. I don't see them coming back, but I am really excited about the future of the Miami Heat.
Go ahead, Sterling.
Man, I think that the Miami Heat are going to find the Lakers switching to their Black Mamba jerseys very disrespectful. And I feel like we're going to mess around and win this game just for the simple fact that Jimmy Butler is the most stubborn player in NBA history. I think he, even in the interview today, he's sitting there talking and laughing about, how we got to just win the game. All we got to do is win a game. And I feel like the Lakers openly going to their Black Mamba jerseys are basically sending to the Heat that this series is over. I think we'll have something to say about that and get up out of there in 6, but I think we got a shot.
I originally had it at 6. I'm gonna still keep it that way. I mean, I won't be surprised if the Heat win tomorrow. I really do think just because of just how Jimmy and Tyler Hero's been playing, and I've actually liked how Bam has been coming in, how he's been playing too. But with that being said, I like I said, I don't. It won't be a surprise to them winning, but just because of how it's actually a statistic where every time the Lakers put on the Black Mamba jerseys, they've never lost. So I'm like, hey, the Heat could break it, but hey, it could still run true. So I really do. I kind of see it going to maybe 6, but if it goes to 5, hey, like Matt just said, I do love the Heat organization and where that's going, and I hope they get maybe one or two pieces, just to kind of fill the bench part of it, but. Nonetheless, I do like how the Heat are going, and we'll see come Game 5.
Looking forward a little bit to next season. Do y'all think that the Lakers will go back and pick up DeMarcus Cousins and once the season's over with, or do you think they'll just move forward with Dwight and the rest of the Lakers team?
I mean, I just think they need to get rid of Danny Green. I think that is one – they need to make that happen ASAP because, like, that – I forgot what his stat was in just the – was it the playoffs or the game or the finals as a whole?
It might have just been the finals. I mean, he's playing he plays like garbage at times, but really, Danny Green.
Oh my God!
He is a great perimeter defender, though. Like he does his job. It just looks ugly because it's him running around like an eel. Like,
but I mean, when Avery Bradley comes back, you have an even better defender. Danny Green was only there. I feel like because honestly, if I'm being solely honest, if Avery Bradley was able to play, he would not be starting. I'm sorry, Danny Green would not be starting over Avery Bradley. I think Danny Green would be coming off the bench. I just think because Avery Bradley is a better defender than Danny Green. Now, Danny Green, from an overall standpoint, he has a better shot than Avery Bradley. But, I mean, when it came down to these finals, I don't know. That shot didn't show up. I think he averaged 6 points.
Yikes.
I don't know, man. I mean, he shot 50% from the field last game, and he finished with a +5 and a +-. So whatever he does on the court translates to them playing better ball. It's just he wish he could make more shots at times. But he does the right things for that team. He knows his role perfectly, so you want to keep that guy around. But I'm intrigued as what the Heat do this offseason or next offseason. My personal preference is we just wait it out. run it back, and hope Goran's healthy and everybody's healthy for another playoff run, and then just sign Kawhi Leonard when he opts out of LA after that 2-year option ends.
Kawhi to Miami, that'd be crazy.
And just sign him. If there's one place that a person would leave LA for, it would be Miami in South Beach. It would be Miami.
Yeah, I see that.
Him or Paul George. We could maybe turn Paul George into a winner. I don't know.
Would y'all like for the Heat to break the Black Mamba jersey curse? Not curse, but break the streak of them winning.
If there was a team that would do it, it would be us. I know.
I'd love to see it. That'd be great to see.
I think that'd be different, man. I think, like, when you really think about it, just because of the weight wearing that jersey holds, and for Jimmy Butler, he won't go in thinking, oh, because they got on Kobe's jersey, I'm going to go ahead and do it. I don't think that's his intention. I just think because it's just you think so?
I think Jimmy Butler and the rest of the Heat organization are going to find this very disrespectful because this is basically the Lakers signaling to them, oh, yeah, we're closing y'all out tonight. Y'all aren't winning. That's basically the signal.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's because they just decided to put it on. That's why they would have that mentality. I don't think it's because it's attached to Kobe. I've seen a lot of people on social media because they like, oh, they wearing it because Kobe wore it, and now they like, I'm like, it ain't got nothing to do with Kobe. He just so happened to wear that jersey. It's just the fact that when they put it on, it's like, okay, we about to close you out, just like you said, you've done for. Now, look, will it be game? What was that? Game 6 against the Denver Nuggets, and AD hit that last second shot to, put them into the finals. Hey, I see that happening. Now, granted, AD had a horrible game. In my personal opinion, he had a horrible game last game, but I don't know. I mean, I see him coming out. I see him and LeBron coming out balling. LeBron might get his 35. AD might get his 30, maybe even go off for more than that. KCP surprised me a lot too. Like that man dropped a smooth 15 and 8. Like
he had a very loud 15 points. It was. I mean, that might have been the loudest 15 points I've ever seen in my life. But I think that shot against Denver came. I think game 2. That shot came game 2 when Denver was trying to tie it up 1-1. And then that kind of helped them get a cushion in that series. But last game AD, I saw something that you normally don't see out of young. Well, he's not really young anymore. Superstar players in the offensive game isn't going, but him being who should have been defensive player of the year, what he did to Jimmy Butler in the second half was very phenomenal, and I think that kind of boosted, in my opinion, his MVP case because without Anthony Davis, I don't know. LeBron is really great, but he needs Anthony Davis to affect the game other ways, and he had about 4 blocks. He changed momentum in different ways, just in terms of his defense that helped the Lakers propel themselves in that game. And he still finished the game with 22 points. I mean, it was quiet. He didn't shoot a lot of shots, but 22 points and the defense he played on Jimmy Butler alone, I think Jimmy shot 1 for 11 in the second half and 80 guarded him. I mean, that's just remarkable. So,
So do you think
that's a B+ game? That's an A- B+ game for me.
So do you think that Anthony Davis, he has a better shot of winning the Finals MVP over LeBron?
I think going into last game, AD had the upper hand. And then if people focus on the opposite side of the ball, which is defense, Jimmy just went off for 40. And he was 5 of 5 in the first quarter. AD took the challenge in the second half to step up and guard him. He held him to 1-11. And everybody knows this Heat team goes as far as Jimmy Butler goes at this point. So without, a Goran Dragic and an unhealthy Bam, that's the dude you have to neutralize. And AD did what he's supposed to do and neutralize him. So.
I think LeBron would be hurt if he did not get MVP.
I agree.
I think everything media just circulates around LeBron. So since we were talking about the boys, we are going to switch over to our women and give a recap of the WNBA finals. And our winners, the Seattle Storm. They took the finals and the championship. So how do y'all feel about that?
Yeah, they won the final score of 92-59 over the Las Vegas Aces. I did not expect 3-0. I did not see that coming. That was a sweep.
Man,
Asia dropped a smooth 18 points in game 3. I mean, everybody else didn't even hit double digits, but she was able to do what she needed to do. Sterling and I were kind of talking before we started. Like, Asia needs help, like, badly. But I mean,
Well,
the other girl,
yeah.
what's the other girl's name? I forgot her first name.
So basically, Liz. I mean, her her Robin is Liz Cambage, and then Kelsey Plum, who was the most leading scorer in NCAA women's history. They both couldn't play. So I mean, Asia, her help was unable to play. So it was unfortunate. She was just out, outgunned with Sue Bird, Jewel Lloyd, Jordan Canada. Brianna Stewart is amazing. It's tough to win. It's tough to win when you got to go against those 3 and 4 girls, and you only got 2 people with you. Like, that's just – it was going to be difficult.
And, like, when I watched that game, like, you could literally see the life getting sucked out of the Aces and Asia Wilson herself. Like, it was almost like I felt bad for her. I was like –
yeah.
Like, I knew she was missing pieces, too, but I was like, I didn't know it was the pieces that she needed to win. Like, I thought it was just, other people that were hurt. But, I mean, like you said, her Robin, and now she's missing another catalyst in how they win games, too. But I was like, sheesh.
Yeah, I mean, she started the game hot. I think she had about 11 points in the first quarter, but, like, down the stretch of the second quarter, she got, like, no touches. And she couldn't get touches. I don't know if that was whether Seattle's saying, like, we know you're the MVP of the league. We're not letting you touch the ball or what. But, she didn't get the amount of touches I would like for her to have gotten in that game, especially when, it's a closeout game. And you want to see the best player get the most touches in that game. But, Seattle did what they had to do to neutralize her to a certain way and try to make the others beat them. And it just couldn't happen. But, I mean, hats off to the Seattle Storm. They got a great team with Stewart, Sue Bird. I mean, those are going to be, women's basketball Hall of Famers, already.
So do you fellas think that the Aces may get back to the WNBA Finals? And do you foresee them winning with their healthy pieces too?
I see Asia getting at least one before it's all said and done. I just think she needs those people to get back from being injured. And I was looking at the stats for this game. The Seattle Storm had 4 people scoring the door at double digits, while the Aces only had 2, with Jackie Young having 11 points. So I definitely think she will get at least one championship with her in her time in Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, their team. I mean, just this year alone. I mean, getting to the finals and dealing with that and deal within the bubble, when they can, hopefully next year be able to play in the arenas, in that Las Vegas arena. Which I think that's one of the better WNBA fan bases in Las Vegas. Really, they really actually love to support that team and love what they see. So I'm just, with Kelsey Plum coming back and Cambage coming back, they're going to be there for sure. I think Age will get her 1 or maybe 2, maybe 3.
Imagine their fan base as is, and then you have the South Carolina women's basketball fan base who probably has
right
about the Vegas, because you go watch the game and then you get to go watch Asia play and go gamble some money, win some poker. So I definitely think the fan base will be traveling out there and going to watch some of the matchups and just buying apparel and stuff like that. I'll probably even get a player T-shirt if they have them.
You gonna pay $65 for that shirt, man? That's a lot of money.
I'll pay for an Asia Wilson T-shirt.
Yeah, she's becoming the sponsor of a lot of major companies, and one of the first females to actually do that. One of the first female WNBA players to be sponsors for these big companies. So,
yeah, I think she's the first female sponsor for Mountain Dew.
Yeah,
is that what we talking? Yeah, first. I mean, Age is going to take this thing to a whole nother level.
I just know $5.
Oh my goodness, man!
Hey, but real quick, y'all said them player T-shirts are $60.
They gonna probably, you talking about Asia Wilson? Like, think about, I mean, Asia is essentially the LeBron of the WNBA now. So look how much LeBron products cost. Just think about that towards WNBA. It's gonna be up there, man.
Because I mean, I spent $30 on Deshaun Watson, so I can't see me going too far north. 35. If I'm getting 60, I might as well get the jersey. So we're gonna put a pause on that.
Hey. I'm about to spend some money on
football jerseys, though. Those are like $100. Are they not?
Oh, that's how we get the player T-shirts.
That's a whole different.
Get the T-shirts. I'm gonna still need me an Age of Wilson player T-shirt.
Go ahead and get 2 of them extra large. I'll get you back later.
We can definitely rip our girl from South Carolina. Okay, so I want to transition into our last topic, if you guys don't mind, which is a super broad topic when it comes to the NFL and COVID. Out of that 17 players overall in the NFL have tested positive. 13 of those are from the Titans, and the latest we have heard have been Cam Newton and our man Stephon Gilmore. So how do y'all feel? What are y'all thoughts about COVID in the NFL? What do you think they're going to do about all this?
Hey, me and Sterling were at the field when that Cam Newton stuff dropped because we were talking football as normal. I went over to my phone. I said, "Oh my God, Sterling!" He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Cam Newton got it." And y'all know Cam is serious. Y'all see he's been putting that post about make sure you wear your mask, and he ain't even using his font.
He ain't even use the font, man.
There's no gospel music playing in the background. This man is serious about it. So you're also seeing. Can one of y'all explain the thing with the Titans and the Steelers about the potential forfeiture of the game?
Oh my gosh! So
go ahead, bro.
So here's where the NFL messed up. They put in their actual year COVID guidelines. If a team tests positive, they're supposed to use a practice player and you're supposed to forfeit that game. Knowing darn well they ain't forfeiting no advertisement money, they ain't forfeiting no game money or nothing like that. So that's where the first problem occurred with the Titans testing positive. Now, given that the Steelers had, a bye week that is pretty much taken away from them at this point, now that the Titans have broken more protocols and have more positive tests, the Steelers at this point are like, or at least some of the players are like, they just forfeit the game and we keep our bye week? But I don't know exactly how everybody feels about that because in the NFL, if there's not a game played, neither parties get any money from that game that would have been scheduled.
Right.
So that's the chess match right here. So, it's a tough situation.
I seen something Stephen A. Smith said earlier on First Take, and he spoke on how players were initially like complaining about all the COVID-19 protocols in the NFL, And his words were, to be blunt, he was like, look, if you play, you get paid. If you don't play, you don't get paid, but you have the option. And so that's one of the things that I took away. I was like, dang, I didn't know, like, you could actually choose. I thought it was just one of those things like you just look, y'all have it, or look, I'll go ahead and play. I didn't know it was like such a big deal, like they had such a choice. And so he also brought up the notion that there's also a plan that he thought the NFL could do where each team have their own bubble. I'm like, okay. So he started explaining it more, and he was like, okay, everyone goes into one hotel. Well, the whole team goes into one hotel, and you're in your city. So you're not leaving anywhere, but you're in your city, and your family can come see you maybe once a week, screening and all that. And I was like, okay. I mean, that doesn't sound too bad. You got 100 players, respectively, plus faculty, staff. You're talking about maybe 130, 140 people in one hotel. I said, okay. Mind you, we talking about an NFL team, so they're going to buy or at least rent out the best hotel money can buy. So I'm like, okay, all right, cool. So my plan that I had thought about, and I just thought about this because we were saying this, and I think it was last episode or last episode before that there was too many people. And how can they possibly do a bubble? And what I thought about just recently was, what if they did it based off of division? So, for example, the NFC South. Everyone is respectively in the same location as far as the NFC South, except for the Saints. They're the only ones that are like, y'all got to come up here. So I was saying, what if everyone picks a certain location in their respective divisions and everyone huddles into that one bubble? I mean, I just want y'all's take on that. How would y'all see that panning out? And I'm not saying one hotel. I'm saying just a series of hotels in one location. And so let's say if the Panthers play the 49ers, you would have to travel to their location. If it's away, travel to their bubble location, and then everybody plays in one stadium. I mean, it's y'all say, yeah. How do y'all feel about that?
Sterling, what you think?
I must say, from a player, how I feel the players think about that is it's too late for that. Yeah. We had from March to August to come up with a detailed plan on how we're going to be able to pull this thing off. In the NBA's case, right, they took all the time after Rudy Gobert tested positive. From that moment, they took that time up to was it May or whatever when they came up with when they finally finalized the bubble idea to get the bubble idea squared away with payments. How they're going to have all the protocols detailed, laid out perfectly, right? But it would be too difficult now to throw that in the middle of an NFL season where players were like, well, I didn't get the virus. Well, I have to subject myself to go living in a hotel, now 5 days, 7 days a week and can't, regularly go home to check up on my child who's in school now maybe, or whatever's going on at the crib, because this one team wanted to be idiotic.
Right.
So I think at this point it's too late to do that. You kind of got to just roll with the punches, and the NFL needs to hit the Titans really hard, so that every other team doesn't even think about doing what the Titans have done. So that's my take on that idea. I mean, it's a good idea, you know, if they detail this, if they actually use the time they had from March to now to August to put that in place and speak that through with the PA and everything, but they wasted all their time. So.
Yeah, okay, I hear what Sterling says. It's a little bit too late for it, but it definitely would have been a good idea. But now they got to come up with something now because these things continue to pop out. Now, which team was one that was out there practicing?
The Titans. They went and had an off-schedule practice.
Yeah, and that's why. Is that why you're saying that the NFL needs to hit them extra hard now?
They need them extra hard. At first, they had the positive test. You had the positive test. We're going to postpone again. That's fine. The problem occurs when the following week, y'all have an unauthorized workout. And then we get more positive tests. Like, what are you doing? So that's what they got to get. They got to get hit extra hard. They need to hit that team, give them a loss, no pay, and take a draft pick or something. You have to do that at this point. You have to hit them extra hard. You have to lay the standard for what's going to happen if another team decides to do the things they did. You can't slap them on the wrist, because now you risk that if another team has a COVID outbreak.
Okay. So you fine them.
Man, that fine ain't gonna do nothing. You got to hit them with you got to hit them where the GM feels it, the coach feels it, and the players feel it. That little fine to one part of the organization ain't gonna matter. It got to hit everybody.
That I think, like, when I brought up the idea, it was something that I thought of, like, they should have did this. Like, how is it you got this one recent graduate from the University of South Carolina who just came out of school who can think of something like this, but you got people with billions of dollars who couldn't come up with this. That's the one thing that really bothered me. I'm like, how is it that I was able to come up with this, but it was so hard for y'all to figure this out? Now, granted, to their point, it was probably at that time period when it, March and April, when COVID first hit, they didn't think they was going to have a season. So I understand that aspect of it. But, you always want to be proactive, not reactive. So you always want to think, okay, if we're not going to have a season, don't have a season. But if it's in the whispers and the talk, like, oh, we may have a season, okay, cool. What plan are we having? And that's the one thing that I wish the NFL would have done. When I said this last episode, they should have done this way before anything. Like, at the end of the day, if COVID is here and it's going to be here to stay, okay, have a plan. Don't just wing it. And I think that's what NFL did. And that's why, applauding the NBA, they, like you said, as soon as it hit, they went to work. And that was one thing that I feel like the NBA, I know the NFL is America's league, but I feel like from a social and from just an overall what it takes to run a good league, I feel like the NBA should be number one. I mean, I know people say this and that and the third, but let's be honest, the NBA is it's on the pedestal of what other leagues should look to. And I feel like the NFL should have tried to at least mold what the NBA did.
Hey, the NBA is all about player empowerment. The NFL, put a helmet on, you said. It's only we but so much power, because what they say, play for the jersey on the front and not the back.
Right.
It makes sense. They're putting a helmet on you, too.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm looking at the NFL. Like you said about the NBA going to work, right? Now, I'm going to tell you right now, Chris, there was no way the NFL was not having a season. All that money was not about to get tossed for 1 year. So they knew they were going to have a season. They just wasted all the time. Now, if they would have been more like a team that, let's say the UFC, even then, in the midst of that, Dana White put together, I mean, as much as he probably complains about having to do it, he did what needed to be done to make sure that they have, because, he's buddies with somebody. But, he did what he had to do to make sure that they had, events and fights and everything. And he did what he knew had to be done. So the NFL could have did the same thing.
All right, guys, I think that is a good wrap up and end to this podcast. I want to thank everybody for listening, and I want to thank Chris, Sterling, and Matthew for your great opinions. And our podcast is brought to you by Rells Revenge and official Slim Dub Music. And also, I'd like to throw out there, if you are a former or current athlete and you would like to be on the show, you can head to our the link in any of our bios on our social media, and you can fill out the application. So thank you once again for listening, and tune in for episode 5 next week. Bye.
If you're a current or former collegiate or professional athlete and you love to talk on the sport that you play, SportsCasters is inviting you to come on an episode and talk on the latest topics in sports for the month of October only. Visit our social media channels at SportsCasters SC to apply. This podcast is brought to you by Official Slim Dev Music and Rells Revenge. Stay tuned next week for episode 5, season 2 of SportsCasters. See you soon.